So on the 20th of January 2022, Rainbow Six Extraction finally launched. This was after years of pretty much radio silence from Ubisoft, a few leaks, and a bunch of name changes. When this game was first announced all the way back at E3 of 2019, it was given the name Rainbow Six Quarantine. Then, when they'd done invite-only testing sessions, it was known as Rainbow Six Parasite. And then they finally landed on the name Rainbow Six Extraction, which best reflect the gameplay of what we get in the final product. In true Rainbow Six fashion, Extraction is a tactical PvE experience. And if you've seen my original review of the game, I think they do it very well. One of the biggest things that I can say about this game is that it is deceivingly hard. The low-level grunts at the very beginning of the game act very much like the AI from the Terrorist Hunt game mode in Rainbow Six Siege, and they act very similar both in hitbox, the way they act, and their health, meaning that you can indeed one-tap them in the head and kill them instantly. The more you play, the easier it gets, since they are quite low-level grunts. And then when you start going up in difficulties, there's more variants of enemies which you come across. You still have the grunts, and of course you still can kill them quite easily, but they are also there now to distract you from the stronger enemies, to be more of an annoyance. They'll run at you, and though they are easy to kill, that is more ammo you've got to use on them, that is more focus you've got to take away from the harder enemies. So even in the hardest modes in the game, the weakest enemies are still very relevant. And this is where the gameplay of Rainbow Six and more commonly Siege come into play and make it a really challenging experience. You don't have infinite ammo, your health doesn't regen unless you find medpacks or have a healer like Doc or Finka. Some enemies can kill you in as little as 3 hits, so it isn't as simple as purely just running around gunning and getting headshots and one-tapping everyone. When you start getting in those crowded areas, it does get extremely hard, and it's best at moments like that, and it is extremely fun. So looking at it 6 months later, there isn't much added to it. There is some quote-unquote new variants of enemies, but for the most part, they act the same as their standard variants which have been in the game since launch. As well as this, there has been no new operator additions. Zofia was the first additional operator added to the game 1 month after launch, and now we are 6 months after launch and they've not added another one, which I think is quite weird considering 6 months ago data miners found Jackal, Ying, Echo in the game files. Why are they holding off on so much content? Like, can you not even just release one of those operators in this time? Because playing it right now, I'm still having heaps of fun. There has been no new map additions, no new operators since the last time I played, but I'm still having a lot of fun. But I can't speak for everyone else on that. I still do want new maps. I still do want more operators. And talking about operators, they actually have added new prestige system to them and more levels to grind for, which I do really like, because even within like the first 2 weeks of owning the game, I got mostly all operators to level 10. So now that you can go above level 10 and there's a prestige system, it's just extremely nice as you can play them more and I'll get more XP, and it doesn't feel as useless because the character is still getting more levels. And core gameplay itself is still pretty fun. I will admit the extraction feature does get a bit tiring now after I've played it so many times. For you guys who don't know, when you die with a certain character in a mission, that character will go MIA, then you have to return to that same level and save that operator from the stasis and bring them back so you can play them again. It's a really cool mechanic, I like it a lot, but it does get a bit tiring after a while. And I kind of guess that is a big issue with this game, and a reason why I believe at least that it isn't really as big as it is purely because I don't think it stands on its own as a game. Rainbow Six Extraction is a great game, and I think it is an extremely solid PvE experience. And if you have Game Pass for Xbox or PC, it's actually free on there, so I highly recommend trying it. And you can pick the game up pretty cheap elsewhere as well. But in the end, this should have been an additional mode in Rainbow Six Siege. And I know if Core Ross is watching this, he's going to disagree with me, but I feel like Rainbow Six Extraction is an extremely solid game mode, not game mode. It kind of feels like if they took Call of Duty Zombies, took the same guns from the multiplayer, the same operators, the same characters and everything, the same mechanics, but sold it as a complete separate experience. Because this is essentially what this is. It has the exact same guns from Siege, same operators, a lot of the skins are the same. There is some new ones and a lot of them are really cool, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like it would be so much more at home in Siege itself. Rather than having all these same guns and same operators in a different game, if they were just in Siege, you could share your skins between them. You know, for example, the skins in Extraction can't be used in Siege, vice versa. You know, they're completely separate experiences. It could have been the better PvE mode that people have been wanting in Siege for a long time because, you know, let's be honest, Terrorist Hunt isn't that good. Rather than separating a player base who love these characters between two separate experiences, they could have just added it all into one game and brought the community together, brought these games together, brought these mechanics together, brought these skins together, made it the same experience. Because I just feel like when you're separating your PvP game and your PvE game, but they're basically the same engine with the same characters and, you know, same weapons, you know, I've said it before, then you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot and splitting up your community. And listen, I get it that Rainbow Six Extraction wants to be a separate game which is sustainable on its own, but when the last operator was literally added 6 months ago, you gotta just question why this wasn't a part of Siege to begin with. Every Siege season that came could have also included a new Extraction map with a separate team working on it, and it would just feel more included in the community. But rather now, Extraction kind of just feels like that distant cousin, which kind of has the same similarities with the same characters, but is a bit different, and not really people care much about it. And I kind of feel like Ubi didn't really understand much about it itself. Like, the lore in it, there is a lore, but a lot of it's kind of been retconned, and you're not meant to believe this, and this was like a what-if situation. Because like in the lore of Siege, both Ella and Zofia are sisters. Ella is more rebellious, Zofia is more straight and stern. And now recently in the Siege lore, Ella and Zofia have had like, you know, this big disagreement. Ella's went to Nighthaven, she's actually left Team Rainbow. And then you go read the Extraction bios, and it's like, oh, Ella and Zofia are now friends again because they bonded over Zofia's daughter. But then you've got like the narrative writer for Siege saying on Twitter that they don't really see the Extraction lore as canon, and like they don't really have a say on it and stuff like that. So like, I don't really understand Extraction. I did kind of start making this with a structure, but I realized I've started to ramble in these past few minutes, so I'm going to try and tie it up together. Rainbow Six Extraction is a solid PvE experience. Ubisoft seemingly thought it was more ambitious, so they made it its own game rather than game mode in Siege. However, since launch they have only added one operator and no new maps, begging the question of why this was not just an additional Siege mode. Only time will tell of what future Extraction holds, but to me it is an extremely fun PvE experience made by a passionate dev team, which was sadly dwindled down due to poor marketing and pretty bad management. And honestly, it seems to be that has been the trend with Ubisoft recently, where talented developers and creative minds are ending up with pretty lackluster products and results, basically due to poor management and control. So I guess we'll just have to see how well Extraction holds up in the future. I guarantee you, if it was a mode in Siege, we wouldn't be having these discussions, but sadly I don't know where Ubisoft are going to take it, and I really hope they aren't leaving it for dead. But yeah guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like Rainbow Six Extraction? I think it is a great game, and for reasons like I've already listed, I think it's a shame how it's ended up. Have a great day everyone, I love you all, peace.